Okay, in part D, we're given y as a function of t and asked to find d squared y dt squared. Now remember, this is just Leibniz notation for the second derivative. So we'll get started. First thing we'll do is rewrite that square root as the 1/2 power, and we'll take the first derivative. If you substitute in a value for t, the last thing you would do would be to take care of that 1/2 power. That's the first thing we have to take care of as far as the derivative is concerned. So I'm taking the derivative of something to the 1/2 power, and that something is different than t. So that's 1/2 times that something to the 1/2 minus 1, or negative 1/2 power, times the derivative with respect to t. So it's 1/2 4 minus t squared to the minus 1/2 times the derivative of what's inside with respect to t. We would use the difference rule here and take the derivative of 4 minus the derivative of t squared. The derivative of 4 is 0. The derivative of t squared is 2t. I think we've seen this enough to know that I'm going to get negative 2t out of that. And I can migrate this up to the front. The 1/2 cancels the 2. I'm left with negative t, 4 minus t squared to the minus 1/2. That gives me the first derivative. Now to take the second derivative, I need to take the derivative of this. The last thing I would do in this operation is I would take this, and multiply them. So that means I'm going to be doing the product rule. So y double prime then is the derivative with respect to t of the first factor times the second factor plus the first factor times the derivative of the second factor. And we're going to pick up with that where we get some more room. Okay, so now we have some more room. We can start taking these derivatives. The derivative of negative t is negative 1. That's times 4 minus t squared to the minus 1/2 plus negative t times the derivative here. I'm taking the derivative of something to the minus 1/2 power. So the chain rule says to take the derivative of something to the minus 1/2 power, it's negative 1/2 u to the minus 1/2 minus 1, so negative 3/2 times u prime. So that's going to be minus 1/2 negative 1/2 4 minus t squared to the negative 3/2 times the derivative of what's inside, 4 minus t squared. So I get negative 1 4 minus t squared to the minus 1/2, and I've got plus 1/2 t 4 minus t squared to the minus 3/2 times this derivative, which once again is negative 2t. And so I get negative 1 4 minus t squared to the minus 1/2 minus t squared 4 minus t squared to the minus 3/2. Just moving that negative 2t and bringing it up front like that. Okay, so we're asked to simplify this, so we don't want to have negative exponents in our answer. There are a couple different ways we can go about simplifying this. We can do the factor approach, or we can do the denominator approach. Using the factor approach, we notice that we have some things in common, namely we have a negative we could factor out and a quantity 4 minus t squared. And the question is, which power do we factor out? Well, we always factor out the smaller of the two exponents. So we're going to factor out a negative 4 minus t squared to the minus 3/2 power. And let's see what I get left inside. Well, remember, when you factor out something, it's the same as dividing it out. And so the negative we can see is going to be gone. But when you divide this, this quantity by this quantity, we're going to be subtracting the exponents. So when you factor out something to the negative 3/2, it's the same as dividing by something to the negative 3/2, which is the same as multiplying by something to the 3/2. So the long and short of it is you're going to be adding 3/2 to this, which is going to give you just the first power. I factored the negative out, and I factored that out, so that's all that's left there. And I simplify. I've got a negative 4 minus t squared to the negative 3/2. What's going on inside there? I just am left with a 4. And so we're very close to our grand final answer. Y double prime equals, the negative is going to stay with the 4 in the numerator. This is going to get shipped to the denominator. Negative 4 divided by 4 minus t squared to the positive 3/2 power. And that'll do it for part D.